Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and do a Runick Spellbook deck profile. I actually really enjoy this deck. I think it's fun. I think it is mildly competitive. I don't know how good it's going to be in the format because it just came out today and I didn't experience it in the TCG. But I've been playing in the Duelist Cup and I beat pretty much everything in the meta and some weird curveball non-meta decks, and I'll show you guys in some replays after this. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it. First, we're running 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. In case you haven't seen my Spellbook deck profile video, if this card is normal summon or flip face up, add a Spellbook from your deck to your hand. Next, we have 2 Jorgen the Spiritualist. This card is MVP. Discard a random card from your hand to the graveyard, destroy all special summon monsters in the field. Neither player can special summon monsters. So you might not be able to special summon Runicks, your opponent can't special summon anything. And the other really good part of that is if you're playing the Runick mirror match, they can only mill, they can't special. So that's pretty good. Next we have Terraforming. Add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. The field spell is incredibly important and powerful, and it's pretty easy to access. Next, we're running 3 Potter Duality. We don't really ever special summon in this deck. The only time we do special summon is when we use the Spellbook of Judgment effect. And there's a couple times I played Duality, I forgot you can't special summon, so just remember, if you're going to activate Judgment and you want to summon Jorgen at the end of the turn, you can't activate Duality. But being able to flip the top 3 and then pick one, insanely good. Next we have 3 Spellbook of Secrets. You can add a Spellbook card from your deck to your hand, except Spellbook of Secrets. You can activate 1 Spellbook of Secrets per turn. Most of the time, if we've already played out of Ash, or we want to bait Ash, we can go Spellbooks of Secrets into Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, and then use Magician of Prophecy to, use Spellbook of Master to use Secrets again to deck thin even more. It's just like copy, 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 copy. So that's a pretty good effect. Which brings us to Spellbook of Master. If you have a Spellcaster type monster, so Jorgen or Spellbook of Magician of Prophecy on board, you can reveal 1 other Spellbook in your hand, target 1 Spellbook normal card in your graveyard, except Spellbook of the Master. This card's effect becomes that target's effect. You can only activate 1 Spellbook of the Master once per turn, so being able to copy is pretty good. Next we have Spellbook of Knowledge. Send to the graveyard 1 Spellcaster monster you control, or 1 Spellbook card from your hand or face-up field, except Spellbook of Knowledge, and if you do, draw 2 cards. You can only activate 1 Spellbook of Knowledge per turn. So once you're done needing this guy on the field, you can basically just get rid of him with Spellbook of Knowledge and draw 2. The other upside to this is, let's say you pretty much played through your deck, you've added all your cards to your hand, your Spellbook cards to your hand from Spellbook of Judgment. If you just add copies of Knowledge, you can just discard another Knowledge. Well, actually, no, you can't. Except it says except. You can just discard a Secrets or a Magician's Prophecy in hand, because if you search your entire deck and you just want to draw, you can just pitch anything you want except for Knowledge. Next we have Runick Fountain. You can activate Runick quick play spell cards from your hand during your opponent's turn. That is an insane effect. Once per turn, if you activate a Runick quick play spell card, you can target up to 3 Runick quick play spell cards in your graveyard, place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw the same number of cards. Also an insane effect. Then we have Runick Allure. Each time a quick play spell card activates, banish the top card of your opponent's deck. You can only control 1 Runick Allure. This card is awesome. This card was winning me games by milling my opponent. It was just amazing. Next we have 1 Spellbook of Fate. If you control a Spellcaster type monster, so Jorgen or the Spellbook guy, you can banish up to 3 Spellbook spell cards from your graveyard. Apply this effect depending on the number of spell cards banished for this card's activation. You can only activate 1 Spellbook of Fate per turn. So if you banish 1, you can return a set spell or trap card on the field to the hand. You banish 2, you can change 1 monster on the field to face down defense position or face up attack. It does not target. And 3, you can banish 1 card your opponent controls. Front row or back row does not target. Next, we have Spellbook of Judgment. During the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you can add spellbook cards from your deck to your hand, except Spellbook of Judgment, up to the number of spell cards activated after this card's resolution. Then you can special summon from your deck one spellcaster type monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards added to your hand. By this effect, you can only activate one Spellbook of Judgment per turn. So typically the play with this is add a bunch of cards and then beam out YuGiOh, and your opponent can special summon and you want crazy amounts of pluses, and hopefully you'll have Spellbook of Fate set to banish whatever you want. But this is a good card. Next we have 2 Called by the Grave, and by the way, when you resolve Called by or Spellbook of Judgment, it actually activates this. So, fun fact, you get mills for those. Then we have 3 Runick Tip, probably the best card in the deck. Debatable with the field spell, that is. You can activate one of these effects, but skip your next battle phase after activation. You'll notice that all the Runick cards have that skip your next battle phase after activation. So if you go to battle phase when you're playing, it'll take you directly to end phase. So just know that before anything. And I've actually been ending my turns like that so I can make sure I skip my battle phase on the off chance I'm going to hit someone for 200 with YuGiOh. But anyway, just so you know, all the Runick cards do that. All the quick plays. So this one's first effect, add a Runick card from your deck to your hand, except Runick Tip, then banish the top card from your opponent's deck, which that is a good effect. Next, the second effect that all of these guys have, all the quick plays have, is special summon a Runick monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. So it has to be an extra monster zone, so you can only have one, and you can only basically use that second effect of any of these cards, or the first effect once per turn. So you want to be careful when you choose to activate that, but the effect is a good effect because of the monster choices in the extra deck. So either add a Runick card from your deck to your hand except Tip, banish top card, or special summon a Runick monster from extra. Only one Runick Tip per turn. All the Runick cards are once per turn. The quick plays are all once per turn for activation. Activate one of these effects, skip your next battle phase. So this one, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls, destroy it, banish the top 2 of your opponent's deck. This has been really useful. I actually really liked that against Despia. Runick Destruction is target a spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy it, banish the top 4 cards from your opponent's deck. So that is great value if they actually run spells or traps. I love that against Eldritch. Next we have Freezing Curse, which is target a face-up effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of the turn, then banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. So it's basically an imperm that also banishes cards from your opponent's deck. Pretty good. And then next we have Smithing Storm, which I feel is kind of the weakest. It's banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck up to the number of cards they control. Most of the time, this is the one that I use to do the special summon one Runick from your extra deck, especially if I'm going first and I'm not going to be able to use it. And then next we have Runick Golden Droplet. Your opponent draws a card, then banishes the top 4 cards of their deck. And then we have Dispelling, which is if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand except during the draw phase, discard 1 card from their hand, then banish the top 2 cards of their deck. This has been great because a lot of the time when people use like Jester, Alubar, or whatever, they'll add the branded spell and then I'll do Dispelling, and sometimes they end up discarding it. It's great. And then next we have in our extra deck, that's it for the main deck. In our extra deck we have Jorgen, the Runick Wings. And you want to run 3 copies of each of these. The only reason why I'm not is because I didn't have the gems to make this guy. I should actually make one of him right now, because I can. There we go. I don't know why I didn't do that before. But anyway, Jorgen, the Runick Wings, 2 Runick monsters, but you're never going to do that. It's always going to be the spell cards. There isn't even a Runick monster main deck that I know of. If it's special summon from the extra deck, you can discard one card, add a runic field spell from your deck to your hand. That's a good effect right there. The second effect is if card or cards control, if another card or cards you control be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. If this card is destroyed on the field by battle or card effect, return it to the extra deck. So, pretty good effect. The fact that you can recycle it, the fact that you can banish it to stop your back row from getting blown out by Feather Duster, really good. Next we have Moonin the Runic Wings, 2 Runic monsters. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can discard one card, add one Runic continuous spell from your deck to your hand. So that would be this guy. And then when your opponent activates a card or card effect that targets a runic card or cards you control or set cards you control, you can banish this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Once per turn during the end phase, gain 1,000 life points. And next we have 3 Gary the Runic Fangs. Can't be destroyed by card effects. If this card special summoned from the extra deck, you can target a non-quick play runic spell in your graveyard. So the field spell or the continuous spell, add it to your hand. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target one card in the field, destroy it. Next we have Crowley, the First Prophecy. You're probably never going to bring this out because it's 2 spellcasters. You'd have to have 2 of the blue guy on board because you can't special with Jorgen out. But if you do, you can reveal 3 spellbooks with different names. Your opponent picks one, add it to your hand for the rest of, and then shuffle your deck for the rest of the turn. Shuffle the rest into your deck. I don't know what I'm doing this deck profile here, guys. You can only activate the effect of Crowley, the First Prophecy, once per turn, and you won't use the other effect because you're not running tributable monsters. Then we have 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix. Sorry, 2 Nightmare Phoenixes because I don't have enough copy of this guy yet. 2 Dark the Dark Charmers, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 Apollosa Bow of the Goddess, which that is pretty cool. And that's going to go ahead and be it for this deck profile. If you liked the video, please let me know down below. I'm going to leave you guys with the replays. And as always, this video has been sponsored by W Energy. Link below. I personally love the peach mango flavor. It tastes delicious and gives me so much energy, way more than coffee. That is why I'm so hyped right now. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.